Today we continue working on our 1955 Studebaker, and we finished this inner fender here on the passenger side. We need to scrape off all this old protective coating. We need to use a propane torch for that, heat it up, scrape it off, and then we can get this stuff painted. Once I weld in one final section there, most of that off, that's looking a little bit better. Cut out this final section of rust right here. I'm going to grab the plasma cutter, and we're going to find how much more lead is in this. Wasted so much time on this build using a grinder to cut out metal. This is so much easier. Unfortunately, under metal was also rusted out, so I had to cut that out as well, so we'll have to weld in two pieces of metal to finish this. And this piece tacked in, and then we'll hammer that a little bit better to shape. And then we'll get the piece that actually goes on top of that welded in. Is that enough that we can start rust converting the entire inner fender here and get it ready for the 415? Let that sit for a hot while, let that convert that rust into iron phosphate, and then we can go ahead and get this stuff painted. At least on this fender skin, all we have to repair is this little bit of rust right here, so we'll buzz that out and replace that. That won't take too long, then we'll just have to rust prevent and all that fun stuff, this fender. This one actually isn't too bad. There's no giant holes. There will be once we cut all this out, but it's actually really solid. Now I get to paint this entire thing with Pour 15. As you can see, I've gotten started, but I got a bit more to go. That is looking so much better. I went ahead and just painted all this stuff on top. Ultimately, this, another piece of metal sits on top of, but I also painted all the bare metal just so it doesn't surface rust before I get around to actually painting the top layer stuff. Pour 15 is not great in UV, so it's not something you'd want to leave as your actual top coat, but it'll get sanded down, we'll get proper epoxy primer and all that, but this is looking amazing. So, we just have to weld that one section in that, Pour 15 the entire inside of that, and we can put it back on.